Today on Sports Central, we'll be going over our first NFL game preview of Week 2 of the 2020 NFL season, and that's going to be over the Patriots and the Seahawks, which quite possibly this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest matchup of Week number 2. I mean, both of these teams definitely have got a lot coming in. I mean, for the Patriots, you've got Cam Newton now at quarterback instead of Tom Brady. He put up a decent performance last week as they played Miami, so it'll be fun to see whether or not he can carry that on into this week. And of course, the Seahawks come in with Russell Wilson playing very well. They had a big win in Atlanta last week as well. So, of course, we've seen a lot of great matchups between both these teams in the past. I mean, we've seen a great Super Bowl matchup, several other very memorable matchups as well. So, it'll be fun to see who gets the win here. And so, today we'll be going over a full preview and prediction on this game. And we're going to be starting off with our team trends. And, of course, last week, both teams got wins. New England beat off Miami 21-11. Meanwhile, the Seattle Seahawks beat off Atlanta on the road 38-25. And I mean, that game was looking like a blowout for a long time there. The Falcons got a score towards the end of that one, but otherwise the Seahawks really dominated that game. As far as the Patriots go, I mean, they had a close one to Miami, but then again, the Dolphins are looking pretty good this season, even though Ryan Fitzpatrick threw like 4 interceptions in that game. Winning streaks for both these teams, obviously they're both at 1 win each because we're only in week number 2 of the season, so your winning streaks won't really come into effect as much at the beginning of the season, but once we get on to later on, you'll be able to really see the team trends for both of these teams. Now moving on, this game is going to be on Sunday, September 20th. Once again, Sunday night football game, 8:20 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be in Seattle, Washington. Spread currently says Seattle by 4. ESPN FBI's also got the Seahawks 61%. And the early Vegas prediction is giving the Seahawks an 8-point win. 18-10 is the score in Vegas right now. And once again, I mean, this is only Monday when this is being recorded. So, I mean, that Vegas prediction is very easily going to change over the coming days, just so you guys all know. But that is the opening trend right now for this game. So Seattle is actually favored in all 3 of those sources there. Something interesting to know as we move forward into this game, because many people are expecting the Patriots to be able to get a win here, which, I mean, once again, both of these teams are pretty evenly matched right now considering the position of where the Patriots are at, and then the Seahawks, of course, playing pretty well right now. As far as your second person goes, these are your 2020 Week 1 stats. Of course, we saw Cam Newton last week go for 15 for 19, 155 yards and 75 rushing yards. Sony Michel was their top running back, 37 yards and a touchdown. N'Keal Harry and Julian Edelman were actually this team's top receivers. Julian Edelman had 5 receptions for 57 yards. Meanwhile, N'Keal Harry had 5 receptions for 39 yards. So, I mean, all around, yeah, this offense played pretty well last week. I mean, Cam Newton really did not pass a whole lot, but he did have 75 rushing yards, which is very good for a quarterback in a certain week. He led this team in rushing, I guess you could say. As far as the Seahawks go, of course, they've got Russell Wilson, who was very, very good last week. 31 for 35, 322 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So he put up quite a day for the Seahawks. Only 4 incomplete passes out of 35, which is very, very good. You also had Chris Carson, 6 receptions, 66 total yards, and 2 touchdowns. Then DK Metcalf had 4 receptions for 95 yards and a touchdown. Meanwhile, Tyler Lockett also had 8 receptions for 92 yards. So all around, great day last week for the Seattle Seahawks, beating Atlanta 38-25. Both teams are 1-0 coming into this game. Some of your key points as well. Cam Newton's still new with the Patriots, so that's going to be something interesting to see. I mean, this is definitely Cam Newton's first big-time matchup as a Patriot coming up against the Seahawks. I mean, Seattle's already a pretty tough place to play, which is not going to be as tough this season, obviously, with not having fans in the stands. But, I mean, still, I mean, Seattle being kind of in a different region of the country, it's always a tough place to play because of that sole reason in and of itself. So for the Patriots having to travel across the country, you can't forget about that. That always has an impact on most teams. Seattle ran over Atlanta last week, so expect them to come off to a fast start. The Seahawks are looking very good right now. I mean, they started off pretty quick in general against the Falcons last week, so expect that. And this game also depends on how Cam Newton plays in general. I mean, if he's going to definitely have to pass this week if this Patriots team is going to be able to succeed, which, I mean, I think he needs at least 200 passing yards in order for this team to succeed. And he's also got to put some rushing yards too, as he did last week. And I mean, I understand he's not much of a passing quarterback. He's definitely a big-time rushing quarterback, but yeah, Cam Newton's definitely got to play well for this Patriots team to succeed. Wilson had a great game in Week 1. Once again, we already went over that, but yeah, he had a stellar game, 31 for 35, over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So yeah, watch out for Russell Wilson, especially in this game. I mean, with him being at home and for the Seahawks being at home for the first time this season, that's going to set them up as well to have a bit of an advantage over New England. Patriots defense also played really well last week too. I mean, they only allowed the Dolphins 11 points. So that's also something you got to watch out for. Patriots looking pretty good on the defensive side heading into week number 2. So all around, this should be a really fun matchup. I'm really looking forward to a lot of things with this matchup. I mean, with the Seahawks, of course, coming in as one of the favorites in the NFC to possibly go on the way. And then the Patriots, on the other hand, been slept on all season long, mainly because, I mean, obviously with Tom Brady not being in town anymore, that could have a big impact, and that's what many people have thought going into this season. And honestly, I mean, Tom Brady, he's a great player, and he is an excellent player, still is to this day. However, the thing is about him is that, I mean, you could just kind of tell how much he was declining in his abilities as the seasons went on, especially in the last 3 or 4 years with the Patriots. I mean, he was still a great quarterback in 2018 and 2019, but obviously he just was not producing the stats that he used to. So, I mean, he kind of got a taste of what it was going to be like without Tom Brady between 2018 and 2019 based off of the skill level that he was playing at. But yeah, obviously with the Patriots, I mean, it's not a terrible adjustment, I really don't think, with having Cam Newton at quarterback now. I mean, obviously he's a very different quarterback. He's a dual threat quarterback in comparison to Tom Brady, who never ever rushes. I mean, he's got no rushing, basically no rushing yards on his resume. So yeah, Cam Newton obviously being a very different quarterback, that really changes up the offense in general. But I think for the Patriots, really, Cam Newton should have a lot of success this season with them. I'm really not worried about the quarterback situation of the Patriots. But nonetheless, here's what I'm expecting for this game. Your prediction, halftime score is going to be 14-10 Seahawks. I think we get off to a bit of a slow start. I think the defenses are going to be playing very well at the start. However, in the second half, we're going to see a big difference. I think that we do see a more high-scoring second half. Seahawks will end up getting the win 31-24 in the end. I think we see both of these teams go back and forth quite a bit in this one. I think the Patriots and the Seahawks both, I mean, having great offenses, that's definitely going to play a key factor in this one. But, I mean, at the same time, both teams have great defenses. So that's why I do expect it to be kind of just an average scoring game. But your prediction is going to be 31-24. I've got Seattle winning this one by a touchdown. However, it's going to be very close throughout the game. This will probably be, I would say, one of the best games that we will see this regular season. I mean, both these teams are extremely evenly matched heading into this game. I mean, both teams could easily win this game. Like, it would not shock me a single bit if we saw the Patriots win. But at the same time, I've got the Seahawks mainly because, one, they're at home, and two, they had a very good win last week against Atlanta, and it was a much more promising win than the Patriots had against the Miami Dolphins. But anyway, with that being said, that wraps up our predictions on the Patriots and the Seahawks this weekend. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game. Let me know your score predictions, etc. once again in the comments below. If you enjoyed this preview and prediction, be sure to slap a like on it, subscribe as well. Really helps out the channel. I really appreciate that. But as always, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central, and I will catch you all in the next one.